Hello, everybody. This is Michael Charles from leadingwithintent.com for your Monday session of iLive, Mastering the Essentials of Life, Leadership, and Relationship with Michael. I'm really excited to have you here today with me. It's been a wonderful weekend. Though I had some challenges over the weekend. I got a flat tire, guys. But I came out with a wonderful weekend, spending some time with family. It's been a little hectic up to the last weekend with a lot of things that was happening in my life. And so I'm really excited that I did get a chance and an opportunity to spend some time with friends and family. Yesterday was all about family. So I'm really excited that I got to do that. And today I want to come and share a message with you because a lot of us deal with this, right? And I thought today is a good day to do that, to share this message with you, at least some thoughts and some perspective around failure and losses, right? Everybody lose. Everybody lose at something. Everybody fails. But again, my mentor says everybody fails, nobody likes it. And so our job is then to learn to fail forward, to learn how to fail in a way that we are no longer the same, but better, right? And you've heard this said before, right? Those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. And so this is all about failures, right? If you don't learn about the things that you did wrong yesterday, there's no way you're going to be able to learn from it and be better. Most of you know, Thomas Edison took 10,000 tries to actually create the light bulb. If he had said after the first, second, 10th, or even the 100th, right, tries, and if he stopped to experiment and try to figure out what works and what doesn't work, then he would not be at least the one that gives us what we now call the light bulb. And so I really want to encourage you today to try and learn the lessons from your failures. And so you can become not just a much more well-rounded person, but also you can use your failures as stepping stones to your next big thing. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. And when they fail, they see it as a step back. But really, a step back so you could go forward. I read a quote earlier today or maybe yesterday. It says, just like for you when you're shooting an arrow, you have to pull back on it before you let go forward full speed. It's the same thing when we experience a setback. That's just setting us up for a comeback. And so we have to learn to learn the lesson and actually come back a lot more stronger. So my goal and my hope today is to raise your awareness about some of the failures that we all face in life and really help you get in a better place. I mean, you probably have heard it said before that life's greatest lesson is learn from our losses. And so today, let that be the day you begin to maybe gain a new perspective on failure and losing and winning. Sorry, a sneeze came. I'm sorry, but right, let this be the day you gain a new awareness for that, because we actually learn more from losing and from our failures than we do from winning. Now, why do I say this? Now, think about it for a minute. When you win, you go around with your hands up and jumping and saying, I am all that, right? It's all me. You've got it covered. You're the best. That really doesn't put you in any position to grow and learn. But when you fail, it forces you to take a step back, assess the situation, and glean the insights that you need to learn and grow. And so I'm encouraging you to try and learn from your failures. Try and be more open to failures, because, well, think about it this way. losing hurts, right? Nobody's going to deny that. Losing hurts. Failing at anything hurts. It hurts our ego. It hurts really our image with the world. As a matter of fact, although maybe just something in your head, but losing hurts, right? But when you think of it long term, the fear of failure is really just a hidden assumption that I'm perfect, right? That's just all it is. It's assuming that I'm perfect, and so because I'm perfect, I'm not supposed to make a mistake. Because I'm perfect, I'm not supposed to do anything wrong. Everything I do is supposed to be 100% perfect. But again, perfect from whose perspective? Again, you could do something that seems perfectly fine to me, but for the next person, it's completely wrong, and they'll criticize you and just try to stone you just for that. And so I'd like to encourage you today to start thinking of it from that perspective. And I think I've shared this before with you. My reluctance from creating these kind of videos over the past few days and weeks and months and years really is because I had this fear of embarrassment. A fear that I won't be looking perfect. So what? Who cares? Right? It's just life. You're never going to be perfect. There's always going to be something, right, that you don't do correctly. Something that, again, perfect from whose perspective? Think about it that way. Again, losing hurts. And so it makes sense that we feel losing, we feel failure. And that happens, again, because we don't have a proper perspective. And when that happens, we tend to develop a sticking attitude, and that tends to take us to something I call a downward spiral of failure, right? That's when we become the failure ourselves, as opposed to the event becoming the failure, right? So I want to encourage you to understand that, because when we win, nothing hurts. But when we fail, everything hurts. No matter, if the tiniest bit of things hurts, the tiniest statement from somebody, we'll look at it from a negative way. And then that hurts and hurts our ego. And so I want to encourage you to start looking at failure and losing from a different perspective. So I'm going to share a few points with you because I think those will help you get a better perspective of winning and losing. So these are what we call the difficulties of failures, of losses. Again, as I said, when you are winning, nothing hurts. When you are losing, everything hurts. And so to deal with those, you have to understand some of the feelings and some of the emotions and some of the frequency that, or the thought patterns that you have when you lose, to help you break out of those. The first thought, the first difficulty that we face as we lose is that we tend to become emotionally stuck. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, right? Our ego takes a hit. And because our ego takes a hit, we tend to want to hide. And we go through these cycles of negative thought patterns that tend to throw us for a loop, and we can go into some sort of anxiety, and it's hard to come out of it. Some of us become sad for days. I mean, I remember long ago, some of my mentors says, when you lose, you only get just about an hour or so to have a pity party. Go into your closet and cry and have a pity party, and then come out swinging and ready for the next thing. Because when you whine and cry and wallow in the pain and the hurt for so long, you just take so much of the burden. And again, I'm going to cover some more of that. But again, you feel emotionally stuck. And what that does to you, it paralyzes you. You essentially become a slave to your emotions. You become a slave to your moods and the feelings that you have. because you really can't get out of your feeling. And the loss then weakens us. It paralyzes you and imprisons you into this, you could call it this dark womb of your mind. And again, that's when you tend to become, a lot of people tend to commit suicide in moments like that. And so again, this is real. This is real. It happens to a lot of people. And so, we need to learn how to overcome that and not let the fear of looking silly and being and looking incompetent paralyze us. Because again, as I said, I've suffered from this. I shared with you in the past where I was raised in a culture where you don't speak, talk back to your superiors, or they know more than you do. And I think I shared this before. It wasn't until maybe a few years ago that I truly, completely overcame this attitude that essentially I espouse. It's something that it's a mindset that I took on just because. Again, that can paralyze us because again, the ego is going to do everything it can to preserve itself. But the ego is not gonna help you in this moment, because the ego is going to, hey, I'm not good enough. I'm not this person. You start comparing yourself. You start seeing the things that you could have done better, but didn't. But again, that's in the past. There's nothing else you can do about it. Anyway, the second thing or difficulties that we have when we experience a failure that I want to share with you is not only that we become stuck, but we've become mentally defeated. Again, I said it becomes a burden. The loss becomes a burden on us. And one of the main qualities that distinguishes between the successful and unsuccessful people is really their capacity to manage disappointment, failures, and losses in their lives. Now, this is a little bit different than the emotional part of this, because then we start questioning our abilities. We start questioning who we are and doubting the things that we can do. And we stay back and do not take action. So you need to start expecting that as long as you live, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. So you have to expect failures and mistakes as an integral part and an intrinsic part of being alive. Because we all face failures. There's no way of getting around that. It's William Ward who said, man, like a bridge, was designed to carry the load for a moment, not a combined weight for years for years all at once. And so again, let me read the quote for you just so you get it right. It says, man, like a bridge, was designed to carry the load for a moment, not the combined weight of a year all at once. And how many of us do that to ourselves? We fail now, today, but we carry that with us throughout the rest of our lives. And every time we fail, we build on, we tack on these failures. And so we go into a downward spiral of failure, and it's hard to get out of. So I'm encouraging you today to win and forget it. Lose and forget it. Because again, as you take on the personalities or your ego takes center stage when you win, but when you lose, it hides. It starts comparing you. It starts telling you you're not enough. It starts telling you you're not able. It starts telling you, who do you think you are? And so it gets a lot harder for you to come out of that defeated mindset. So I'm encouraging you to really, when you gain a new perspective on winning and failure. The third difficulty I want to share with you is this gap that's created between the I should have and I did. Right? You start comparing. And I remember telling somebody not too long ago, stop comparing yourself with people when you win or when you fail. Because somebody's always going to be better than you, and somebody's always going to be worse than you. Somebody somewhere in this world is always going to be better than you. Somebody's always going to be worse than you. So then, where do you fit? Exactly, right? So stop comparing yourself. You're wasting energy doing that. And so when we win, we create that positive energy, that positive cycle of winning, and that builds confidence for us. And that in turn encourages us to take more action because we have confidence. We think if we take action despite the risk, we're going to succeed. But then when we lose, right, that creates a negative cycle, as I said, and that leads to our insecurity. And once we become insecure, we start to doubt ourselves and we hesitate to take action. And of course, that creates more failures and more unfinished endeavors in our lives. And again, that creates a low confidence, and our self-esteem and our ego takes a hit. And the final difficulty I want to share with you is that, and as I said this, take it for what it's worth. Failures and losses never leave us the same. Failures and losses never leave us the same. Now, as I thought about this lesson and share it with you tonight, I'm reminded of some events in my community that happened a few years ago. And when that event happens, many people said, well, I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to let my child go into the pool. I'm going to never do this or that. Now, it's easy to think that. It's easy to think that way. But again, is that the right perspective? Think of it, right? Think about it for a minute. Is that the right perspective? Because pools is a part of life. It's just, our children will go places and there'll be pools. Instead of saying, I'm never going to let my child go into the pool, how about I'm going to teach my child how to swim? Would that be a better thought? I mean, I know parents who say that all the time. They get so scared and afraid. If that's your mindset, then the only way, not the only way, but the best way to have some ease and some peace of mind is to make sure your child learns how to swim. And that means you bring your child to swimming lessons. And again, I'm saying this and that came to mind, and trust me, it's a painful memory for me, my family, and everyone in the community that had to go through this and still is going through this pain. It's not easy. It's hard. It's tough. But without proper perspective, we will never learn the lesson, and it's always going to change who we are. And it's going to take away some of the opportunities that we may have in life. And again, I was questioning whether I should even talk about this today because it's hard. That's a hard moment, not just for the parents and for people who experience this. But the lesson is, are you going to say, I'm never going to do that again? Or are you going to say, how can I learn so the next time I'm in such a situation, things are better for me? Again, I don't want to dwell on this because it is very emotional for me and many people. And so how can we have proper perspective when we lose, when we fail, when we experience losses? How can we have proper perspective? Because you can choose to change. You can choose growth over comfort. Instead of stretching yourself to be better, You can run home and run home to mama and hide. You have a choice. But that choice, the choice that you make will define you. It will define your life, who you become and how successful you become. And so I'm encouraging you by sharing this lesson to gain proper perspective. Don't just say, I'm never going to do that again, but say, what lesson can I learn from this situation? How can I grow? What can I do to become a much better person? So the next time, or if ever I'm presenting with a situation like this, I'm much better for it. Again, when you win, you think you all that, and when you lose, you think you defeated, and that you bad, and that you're not perfect, and that you're a failure, then you don't have proper perspective, right? Again, one moment of failure in your life does not make you a failure. So, take a step back and start seeing the bigger picture and have proper perspective. Now, the second thing I want to share with you before I finish tonight, two more things I want to share with you before I finish tonight, and that is the number and severity of your losses is really not as important as how you experience those losses. Again, that's back to proper perspective. It's how you experience the loss. If when you lose, you say, I'm a failure. If you fail once, you say, I'm a failure, and you fail to learn the lessons, then again, those who do not the lessons from the past are doomed to repeat the same. Again, start getting proper perspective by understanding that the number of losses or the number of failures or the severity of the failure is really not as important as how you experience it and how you respond to that failure. And really, just start hanging out with people who's made it a habit to experience life and who know that no one is perfect. Nobody's perfect. Again, I started this video with this. Nobody's perfect. And so if you think that you're so perfect that you cannot fail, and when you fail, then that's going to be the end of it. That's going to be the end of your life. That you're going to think that your life is over. But no, that's not true at all. Because we are not perfect, we're going to make mistakes. And when we make the mistakes, when we fail, our job is to learn from it, gain proper perspective, and spring forward, fail forward to success. Again, failure is only feedback, telling you exactly how this one thing doesn't work. Now, some failure can be fatal, right? And that's why the last video I made, I talk about taking calculated risk. At the same time, we need to understand that when we fail, we need to take ownership and learn from it and move on. So this is really all I wanted to share with you today. I wanted to make sure that you gain proper perspective on failure and losses in your life and not let that become a stumbling block for you. Because again, the ego will try to protect you at all costs. Your job is to put yourself in a position where people are trying new things and understand that failure is a part of life. Losses are a part of life. You just have to take that, learn from it. Ask the question, what can I learn from this failure? How can I not repeat this failure again in the past? What can I do better next time? If I had to do this again, what would I change? Ask yourself those questions and go forward to success. Or, as my mentor would say, fail forward to success. So once again, thank you everybody for joining. And those of you who watch this live, I appreciate you being a great supporter. And those of you watching the replay, make sure you type the word hashtag replay in the comments so I know you're watching this from the replay. And for those of you who are watching live, again, thank you so much for watching and tuning in every Monday for the episode of iLive, Mastering the Essentials of Life, Leadership, and Relationships. Again, I create this series to help you not only raise your awareness of what's possible, but connect you to your potential. Help you understand the resources and tools that are available to you for your growth. And so if you have questions, you have comments, reach back out to me. And I promised I would be teaching a lesson about drama this week. It is coming. So I'm thinking Wednesday or Thursday of this week, I'll probably teach this lesson. This lesson will be a special lesson. So for you to watch this lesson about drama, you have to go ahead and join my Facebook group, iLive, Mastering the Essentials of Life, Leadership, and Relationships. That's where I'm going to go live and teach this lesson this week. So once again, join me there. I'll send the request to join the group. I will accept. And so when I go live this week, you will get that notification. I'll actually post a message on the day that I'll be sharing that lesson. So watch out for that, everybody. Have a wonderful night and a great week. Take care. Bye.